Today I would like we explore together this project called PostGraphile. So I stumbled upon this project some time ago. It used to be called PostGraphQL. And the idea is that you have a database, a Postgres database. And this project allows you to automatically create a GraphQL endpoint from the schema in your database, which is pretty convenient. In this video, I would like to give you a short introduction to PostGraphile. And hopefully at some point we will use it to create a web application. So why creating GraphQL endpoints this way? So the idea is that you have your database, which is a single source of truth. And then based on that, you create everything, those other layers in your application. There is this old idea in computer science that you should keep your logic close to your data, which is different than currently popular code-first approach, where you write your code and then you manage everything in your code and only do some, let's say, basic stuff in your database. With database-first approach, you can leverage a lot of interesting features. So each database has some features which are rarely used when creating web applications. So for example, views, materialized views, and some specific vendors like Postgres have even more of interesting features. So if you are using a client to connect to a database, it usually supports all those databases. And for that reason, the features it can support is like limited to what's common across those databases. So if you are using Postgres, which in my opinion is probably the best database, if you use it directly, you can just use those features which have been developed for many years now, and then you can create, in this way, you can create applications in a more efficient way. So let's see how we can use that. And in this video, we'll do a short setup, and in the next one, hopefully, we will dive into some details, and at some point, I would like to create a simple web application on top of that. So the first thing you need is to create a database. So you have to have your Postgres server running, so I won't be discussing that. And if that's the case, you can just type create.db and let's call it Acme, which creates your database. And then you can check if it works. You can just connect using PSQL. We don't have any tables at this point. So there is another tool called PostgreSQL, which I prefer, which is exactly the same, but it comes with some autocompletion. Right now, we need to create our first table. But before we do that, let's create a schema, which is a namespace in Postgres and the PostgreSQL parlance. So it separates tables. So we can just use create a schema and we will call it app. And now we can create our first table, which will be a table for users. So I will use this trick where I can edit the query directly in my editor, which is Vim in this case. And we can say create table app, which is the namespace, the schema, and I will call it person. So this table will have an ID, which is a serial, and this will be a primary key. It will have a first name, last name, and maybe created at, which will be time stamp with the time zone, TZ. And this will be not null, and by default, it will use the now function to insert the current date when creating a new entry in that table. So now if I save, it's directly pasted into the command line tool and I can now execute it. So we've created a table. Now I need to install PostGraphile. And you shouldn't install it globally. That's what they recommend. So you should create a directory with package.json and install this tool into that directory. We will be also using a plugin, a PostGraphile plugin, to simplify the names in our GraphQL endpoint, which is called PG Simplify Inflector. So now we can just run With PostGraphile, we need to specify our table, our database with the -c parameter, our schema, which is app. We will make PostGraphile to watch for changes in our database, which is more convenient in the development mode. And for now, we won't be using this plugin we installed, so I can show you what's the difference between using the plugin and not using it. So let's start it. So now we have the GraphQL endpoint at the port 5000 and the GraphQL user interface. And because we created this one table person, we will have all people query available. So we can now run it and it's empty because we haven't added anything yet. As you can see, it adds all for the collection and it inflects the noun. So it's person and people in the plural. We can also have person by ID and then we can specify an ID and do the same. And it will be empty because we haven't added anything. If we stop the server and if we use the plugin pgsamplify inflector, so now we don't have all people, we have just people, which is simpler. And instead of person by ID, we can just use person ID. So the names are now shorter, which I find nicer. And on top of that, PostGraphile adds the CRUD operations. So we don't have to do anything. Just the fact of having the database, the table in our database, is enough to create all those operations such as creating, updating, reading, and deleting. So let's add a new record using a mutation instead of doing an insert directly through the Postgres command line. So we can do mutation and we can do create person. We can also do update person and delete person. So we are interested in create person, and then we have input parameter. Here we will define the fields. So we need person first, and then we need first name, last name. We have to return, so we will return ID. So if I run it, we should have new record in our database, and if I run the people and let's say name, we have the record in our database. So we can also run it here and it's there. So as you can see, very quickly the PostGraphile was able to infer the shape of our table and create all necessary GraphQL schema, which is pretty convenient and pretty nice. So now let's say we want to do some changes and we want to add some, let's say, fields to this schema, like computed fields. So for example, we want to have a just name field in our GraphQL endpoint, which concatenates the first name and the last name. When using PostGraphile, we need to create a function in our database. So let's do that. So this will be create function, and we need to use schema. We need to prefix the name of our function with the table, so person, and then the name of the field we want to use, so name. And here we will get a person, which will be of type app person, so the type of our table. And this function will return text as. And as a language, we will use SQL. We'll mark this function as stable. And here we will do select. We will get our parameter, which is person, first name. We will concatenate it with a space. And we'll take last name. And that's all. And if we run it, as you can see, the PostGraphile already picked that change. And if we go here, we can now remove that. If we say name, it should be available on the fly and it concatenates. So it's pretty amazing. The only downside we could see here is that we needed to create this function in database. so using SQL, which may seem unfamiliar, but at the same time, knowing SQL is pretty important. So similar to GraphQL, this is a declarative language, which just describes how to get data, and the engine, PostgreSQL engine, has very sophisticated algorithms to find the data in the most efficient way for you. So it's a good idea to learn it. But at the same time, you have it into database, which some people like, some other people don't like. To finish off this short episode, let's just do an update. So again, it's a mutation. We want to update person, input, and now we need to use the person patch field, which will say which field we want to change. And we will change the first name to Alice. And here we will return the name, which is this computed field we created. Updated, but it computed this name field on the fly. So let's stop here, and in the next episode we will see how we can filter data in PostGraphile, and then in the next one how to create a web application on top of that. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next one.